Welcome back to the Bob Harden Show. And now here's your host, Bob Harden.
Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. We're providing you news and commentary rooted in a commitment to individual liberty, personal responsibility, limited government, and the rule of law. Coming up later in the show, we're going to visit with Jim McTague, former Barron's Washington Bureau Chief. Right now we have with us the Collier County Clerk of Courts and Comptroller, Crystal Kinzel. Clerk Kinzel, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Good morning, Bob. Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure indeed. And I think playing such an important role for the community, but probably most people are not aware of the work that you're doing and the services you're providing. So maybe you could tell us about the Clerk of Court's role as well as the Comptroller's role in Collier County.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. We have three primary functions. As you mentioned, Comptroller. Collier County is a large county, over $2 billion in budget, and we are the financial arm for not only the county, but the clerk's office and the supervisor of elections by contract. But as part of our function, also, we are the keeper of all the records for Collier County. Next year's our 100-year centennial, and we are automating all of the property records. I think this will be really important for maybe some of your listeners that were suffering records lost during the hurricane, or if their records were destroyed. They should know we are the keeper of all those official records, and we will have most of it online right now, but we're going all the way back to 1923 by early next year. So we're trying to automate that and make that accessible. We also perform marriages, so we're having a Valentine's vow renewal and wedding ceremony in February on Valentine's Day. Some of the odd things that we do. And we're also the keeper of all the court records. So we have docket information and filings. And we also have a self-help center for your listeners that we've expanded because of the demand and use on all the things that we can help them with.
Well, that's so interesting. I mean, one of the things I'm beginning to see emails about somebody could be stealing your property and your records. So you ought to be careful. And, I think it's just really important to know that your property is going to be safe.
Right. And, Bob, we have a free sign-up. I think I mentioned it before on your show, but they can go to our website at collierclerk.com, sign up for the fraud alert. It's free. They don't need to pay an outside entity. If all their property is in Collier County, they can sign up and be noticed so that if anyone would attempt to file against their property or against their records, they would get an email from us automatically saying someone's trying to do something, and maybe it's legitimate, but maybe it's not, so they could check.
Well, hey, that sounds like a no-brainer to me. Everybody should sign up for that. I'm going to do it right after the show. So again, what's the email address or the
CollierClerk.com.
CollierClerk.com.
Right, and it's COLLIER. Sometimes people from out of town do CALLYOUR, but no, it's Collier County, so it's CollierClerk.com.
CollierClerk.com.
And sign up for the fraud alert, please. Yes.
Thank you so much. So tell us about the jury system that you have.
Well, the jury system, I'm so glad to announce that we are upgrading. We have contracted to upgrade the jury system. The clerk's responsible for calling all jurors. And I know that sometimes when your listeners get a jury notice, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I really try to talk to them when they come here. I try to welcome them if I'm not at another meeting, because it's such an important role to play in our entire judiciary system. So their presence and being here is so important. And our system, admittedly, is a little bit antiquated. We have a lot of paper, and we're going to try to streamline that. It'll be more applicable to a mobile application where they can be updated, where to go, what day, what time. They'll be able to fill out some of the forms right now that are manually filled out. We'll be able to do all of that online and capture the information more efficiently. So we're really looking forward to that. That'll be in the summer of next year. We'll have that finalized. We've already contracted and we're already working on all the conversion. And we have to get Supreme Court approval because juror selection is actually random, and your random process has to be approved. So we're looking forward to having some new things in the jury room.
That's so interesting. How many jurors are processed each year? Do you have any idea?
Oh, thousands.
Yeah.
We especially since COVID, we have had a backlog, obviously, of certain kinds of jury trials. Because proximity and shutdowns. So the judges are working extra these days, and we have many jurors. We call in as many as 500 a day.
Wow.
When they're holding a trial. So it really just depends on what trials are coming up each day. But we usually it's around 20,000 a year, 25,000 a year.
That's a lot of folks, a lot of calls. So tell us your $2 billion budget here in Collier County. Maybe you could tell us about your current financial systems.
Well, our current financial system is SAP, a very large, robust system, but we're also in the process of upgrading that. That will be done in early 24. It takes quite a while to convert all of the systems, but, it's really a backroom processing that we're changing, and it will help us better capture time and attendance of all employees so that it'll have more controls. It'll be easier to do again through mobile devices or in the field. We'll be able to capture real-time payroll and other large expenditures. So we're working on that conversion also as we speak.
So all this information, and you have, I think, a newsletter that people can subscribe to.
Oh, thank you. Yes, great reminder to me. Again, collierclerk.com. Please subscribe to our newsletter. I try to put in that each month a little bit about the courts, a little bit about the board, projects that are going on in Collier County, some of the things that might really be of an interest to your listeners, and also all the events I mentioned, the Centennial, the Valentine's Day wedding, and our volunteer recruitment. Any of that information can be found in our newsletter as well as on our website.
Okay, so we go to the website to sign up.
Collierclerk.com, and you subscribe, and then we send that out on the first of every month to tell you what's up and coming.
So you told us a little bit about some upcoming events. Maybe you could elaborate on what's happening and when.
Okay, thanks. December 1st from 3 to 4:30 p.m. right here in the Courthouse Annex, we have a training room, and we will be doing a real estate and fraud protection seminar.
Wow.
We've done a few of these around the county at the satellite offices, but it's in conjunction with Jim York. I don't know if you know him, but he has a real estate agency here. But this isn't a real estate sales or anything like that, but Jim does a good job of helping our citizens learn how to maneuver a contract for real estate. He also brings one of his partners, Chris Mitchell, who navigates for you insurance. And right now with FEMA and hurricane and everything that's going on in the insurance market, we're trying to get more information out to the public. And then I'm the third part, which I promote the fraud alert that we just talked about, as well as what other things we're seeing in attempts at fraud, how to make sure your liens are cleared if you are having work done on your house. I go over a lot of those things that we see as an auditor for Collier County and as the clerk in the official records area.
Wow, so interesting. And then you've got the two other events. I think one of them, of course, is the Valentine's Day event, which has been going on for a couple of years.
Right. And we are looking for volunteers and also sponsors. We try not to use taxpayer dollars on this. We've been very successful in getting people. So everything from a wedding cake to little bags for the participants, and it's really been one of the fun things that we get to do. And it is on Valentine's Day. Right now, the venue is the museum right here on the government complex, but we're seeing such demand that we may need a bigger venue, so we're also searching for that. So please stay tuned to our newsletter, and you'll know where and when to sign up for that.
And again, that is not only a marriage, but also vow renewals as well. So it's
right. We would like to be in love in Valentine's Day, and we've had about 13 to 15 renewals, and usually 6 or 7 brand new marriages in our smaller ceremonies. but we've seen it expand in the second year, so we expect that it'll expand even more after the hurricane and COVID. I think a lot of people are really wanting to renew vows and also take those things that in their life, take stock of those life events. So
absolutely.
we want to make it fun.
So again, collierclerk.gov, Collier Clerk.
No, collierclerk.com.
CollierClerk.com. Again, Clerk Kinzel, I just genuinely appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no, thank you, Bob, for the opportunity to let your listeners know everything that we're doing here at the clerk's office. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, coming up, we're going to be visiting with Jim McTague, former Barron's Washington Bureau Chief. That and more right here on The Bob Harden Show on the Bob Harden Broadcasting Network.
Stay tuned for more of the Bob Harden Show here on the Bob Harden Broadcasting Network.